All right, good morning. Pull day today, hitting some rep landmarks. So today, the goal is 500 reps for back, 200 for bicep. Make it a very high volume day. Pushing volume right now. I said in the Instagram post that my training is kind of emotion based right now as we lead into Ramadan, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not training for a specific goal right now outside of just being a monster and hitting these rep goals. So, with that being said, I'm going to construct the workout for you. We're going to start out with some pull downs and we'll go into various rows like we did last session, but this time for more volume. And we're going to keep the reps around about 10 per set, just jack up the set volume. We may hit some higher reps in a couple exercises, but I'll decide that as we go forward. Nutrition for something like this, very heavy intra-workout, things I'm training fasted. Took a massive L yesterday nutrition-wise. Just kids shitting everywhere and, late night grill session, get food on. It was just a lot, but it's all excuses, and excuses are monuments of nothingness. They build bridges that lead to nowhere. So we're going to get started and we're going to work really hard. So I want you guys to really pay attention. If this is something that you want to try, please let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel as well. I'm going to be bringing you much more content. Got a session similar to this for push later this week, but I'm not sure if I'll do that for the simple fact that my shoulder was on fire after that. So I have to think about that or just choose better exercise selection. So with that being said, let's get started. Let's work really hard, get a massive pump, and then go home and feed the muscle. Let's go. Okay, let's talk construction of a program like this. So, a lot of my programming right now is just emotional based. So, why did I want to try this? I just really wanted to treat the muscle like it was a balloon, just try to inflate it as much as possible. Now, what I will say is if you're going to undertake something like this, I would probably start with a stiff arm pull down or a pull over or something like that instead of a lat pull down. The exercises that you see are done for 5 sets of 10 with the exception of the stiff arm pull down, which you'll see later, which is 5 sets of 20, and the Dante rows, which is also 5 sets of 20. So how do you go about picking exercises and all this? So really what I did is I just stayed with generally what I would do for a back day and just added in a couple of other movements that I felt like doing. So lat pull down, normally start off with that, whether it be a hammer plate loaded or a regular cable pull down, then moving on to chest supported rows, and then moving on to some type of bent row. Now here's the funny thing. Normally it would either be a chest supported row or a bent over row, depending upon what week it was. I alternate them every other week, or I may do them both in the same workout. This being said, for me to hit the desired rep range, it just made sense for me to go ahead and do both within the same session. So, doing that 5 sets of 10 for each one really just hammered my back, and I was semi tapped out after doing the Arsenal strength row that you're seeing right here, for the simple fact that This one is just really, really difficult to do because that angle is slanted a bit. It's not static like the Nebula one at Iron Heaven. So it was harder for me to get my footing. You almost have to have your tiptoes at the edge. As you can see, I'm moving forward. And then I just start to row. Now, in any other program or any other day you see me slightly control the eccentric. That was not as important as today. Really what was important was to make sure that I hit the volume landmark that I had predetermined, which was again 500 reps. How I got there really didn't matter as long as it was 500 for back. So did this for 5 sets of 10 as well. Now, another thing that you want to keep in mind too is that when you're doing something like this, you want to pick the majority of your movements, plate loaded movements. So I know there's a lot of people that don't consider plate loaded movements compound movements. I'm going to dispute that. I think they're just as good as compound movements. They're not going to take the place of, but there are certain things that just hit the muscle a little bit better, such as this low row. So another thing that you'll see is that I did use one compound movement that's actually coming up next, and that is another chest supported row, a dumbbell row on the Elite FTS chest supported bench. Now, to be fair, this is essentially the same movement that I did with the 3 plates and a 25 on the flex chest supported row, but I got a fuller range of motion on this one. And while it's only 60 pounds, that 60 pounds weighed a ton at this point in the workout, because with the pull downs, the chest supported row, the bent over rows, and the low row, I was already 200 reps into the workout, which is an ungodly amount of volume for back. So we got another 50 there. So at that point, I'm 250 reps deep. And when I get to this stiff arm pull down, I'm doing 5 sets of 20 here. So that puts another 100 reps on the ticker. And at that point, actually, I'm beyond the point where most people would stop, to be quite honest with you. The pump will be strong, and a lot of people would just bow out. Now, is this effective training? No, I'm not going to say it's effective, but it was good to challenge my mental. It was good to challenge my physical and to see how much I could actually tolerate. So, again, this is not something that you want to construct for more than a cycle, for more than a couple weeks. So if I've never explained it, let me explain how I'm doing it right now. We're heading into Ramadan, right? And Ramadan is the point where I drop off a little bit of fatigue. So with that, I'm trying to put my body into a place where it's just basically really, really overreaching, where I'm going to just have to take a rest and then I can drop off some fatigue. So what better way to reach that overreaching point than to do a couple of weeks of very, very high volume and then back it down. Now, there's no, for lack of a better word, forgive me for using this block periodization, people, there's no realization phase with this, right? Now, there is something I'm going to try to do. I want to try to get 500 for reps on the RDL, and we'll see how that nets out after I get one more week of high volume on my lower body day. But with that being said, this is not a sustainable model. It is not sustainable by any measure of the imagination. So I need people to understand that when you're doing something like this, you're only going to keep it for a short amount of time. Now, let's touch on nutrition very quickly. As you know, I'm not a diet guy. I don't do diets. Hell, I have a problem following a damn diet myself. But there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. And the main thing you want to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that you keep the carbohydrates flowing on something like this. You don't want to
go short on the carbohydrates, and also always emphasize the protein to make sure that you're repairing the muscle, because this is a brutal way to elicit a hypertrophic response. So make sure you're loading up on the carbs and protein.
All right, Dante rows done. 500 reps down. So knock that down. No rest, right in the biceps. Time constraints due to the first prayer leaving at 7:19. It's already 6:07. I'm just going to hit 100 reps here for biceps. So 5 sets of 20. I'm gonna pick an exercise, just get after it. Biceps have gotten a beating today, so I think 100 reps is doable. So let's get to work.
Okay, this right here is simple. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it. 5 sets of 20 here to equal out 100 reps. Weight wasn't important. I just need the rest periods low, and I just need the volume to complete the workout. Arm day is on, I'll probably make it Sunday this time, just so I can have a wee bit more time. But the fact of the matter is this: I didn't need to slam it. I just need to pump some blood in there. They already got wrecked with some of the main work, so anything over 100 would have probably just been overkill. So that was definitely an audible.
And from beautiful Bob's in Bellevue, that's it. I am tired. Okay, very tired. But long work was done. Brutal work was done. It was tough. It was difficult, but got through it. Again, this is not a sustainable model for no long-term type of training. This is something that you do sporadically throughout the year, sometimes maybe once, twice a year, just to damage some sarcomeres, get it going, get some different type of muscle growth going. So that being said, like, subscribe to the channel. If my shoulder holds up, got another high volume chest workout. So even if it doesn't, I'll bring you something for a push, and then we'll go from there. All right, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate you all and the support, and I'm gonna keep on cranking it out just for you guys. All right, take care.